Okay, everyone can see it. All right, perfect. So let's get started, and people will just keep coming in. So this presentation, like it says, how to scale your lead gen, how to scale your businesses with paid media advertising. This presentation is specifically targeting people who sell professional services. It's not necessarily for e-commerce, although you may learn a few things about this that maybe you can apply to e-commerce, but specifically for lead gen and for service-based companies, whether you're a consultant or a coach, healthcare, IT, finance, legal, things like that. Those are usually things most relevant for a presentation like this. I'm gonna just do a quick introduction about myself before we dive into this presentation. So professionally, I've been in marketing, digital marketing for the better part of 11 years now, since the days of MySpace, and we were downloading illegal music off of Napster, if anybody remembers those days. So back then, Facebook was barely even heard of, and social media wasn't really a word. Last 6 years, I've been working in paid advertising, primarily on the Google and Facebook side. Former search engine marketing manager for Capterra. For those of you who don't know Capterra, it's one of the largest SaaS marketing companies in the US. Anyone who's involved in SaaS marketing probably knows who Capterra is. Last 2 years, I've struck it out on my own, working for myself now, primarily doing lead gen for service-based companies, professional services, consulting, local-based services. Worked with everything from legal to healthcare, to consultants, local businesses as well. Personal side, Vietnamese refugee. My family were originally from Vietnam, came to this country many decades ago, and I live here in Washington, D.C. Just finished season 8 of Game of Thrones, and whoa, that was really crazy. I'm still disappointed with how it ended with between Daenerys and Jon, but we won't go into that since that's not the right time. Love to cook. I'm one of 5 kids, as you can see in this photo below, of me and my 2 sisters. So let's talk about paid advertising and lead gen. So I'm actually here to tell you don't really have a lead generation problem, although you probably registered for this webinar thinking you have a lead generation problem. For many decades now, my industry, the digital marketing industry, we have brainwashed and persuaded everyone to believe that you have a lead generation problem. From the marketing agencies to MarTech vendors to marketing software and tools, we have all managed to convince you guys that you have a lead generation problem and that our tools or our services can help solve your lead gen problem. However, having been in this business for 11 years now, I don't think you have a lead generation problem. I think you have a lead conversion problem. And this is a bit of a different angle. The genesis of this thought point came probably about 4 or 5 years ago when I worked as a search engine marketing manager for Capterra. We were managing 6-7 figures in ad spend per month. We were working with some of the largest SaaS marketing companies in the world, such as Salesforce, to your mom and pop SaaS startup company. And one of the things I realized real quickly is that regardless of how big or how small of a company you are, I realized most businesses don't know how to do lead gen, paid media lead gen correctly. And so because of my experience at Capterra, which I've since translated into my own practice, and I see it on a day-to-day basis. I see it on the forums. I see it on the internet. I see it on YouTube. You know, everyone thinks they have a lead gen problem, but they don't. They have a lead conversion problem. They don't know how to convert their leads. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about a 3-step framework to converting leads. This presentation is divided into 3 parts, parts 1, 2, and 3. I'll take the bulk of the questions at the end of part 3. But I've signaled to Anastasia that I will take a couple questions after part 1 and 2, just to keep it rolling. just because I know it's difficult to listen to one person talk for 45 minutes. So I like to break it up and keep it interactive. This slide right here, this is the typical conversation that agencies and clients have with each other, at least in professional services. Clients, they hire a marketing agency to do paid media lead gen for them. And the biggest complaint that I see is the leads are trash. Agencies, what we say behind your back is, no, the leads are not trash. You just don't know how to close. And everyone else is complaining about how the algorithm sucks and that paid ads don't work. The truth is that it's somewhere in the middle. The truth is that consumer buying behavior has changed drastically over the last 10 years. And there's been a really fundamental shift in how consumers buy today in 2021 versus 2012. And it's been so gradual that I think a lot of advertisers, we have not realized how to change our paid advertising to accommodate the new dynamics. So back in 2012, where the internet and social media hasn't really matured yet, the average cost for a conversion across all of Google was $9, okay, across all industries, okay. Consumers had fewer choices. That was back in 2012. Usually when someone does a search on the internet, it's a lot easier to sell to them back in 2012 than it is in 2021. Well, what's really changed in 2021? Number one, if you look at just Google, the cost per conversion has increased dramatically to $56. So we've gone from $9 back in 2012 to $56 on average across different industries. And consumers have more choices. Okay, for those of you who do your own advertising and marketing, you probably know that if they found you and they're talking to you, they're probably talking to a couple of other businesses as well. They're shopping around and they want to get the best rates. And a lot of times, you may believe that you offer the best service or the best product, but they don't know that. A lot of times they want to go with the cheapest guy, and you're usually not the cheapest guy. So because of these dynamics, it's made advertising a lot harder for many of us, and it's resulted in a lead conversion problem, because it's not that hard to generate leads. It's just harder to convert the leads. Okay, so what you need are good marketing systems in place to convert those leads. You don't necessarily need more leads. You just need to convert the leads that you're getting. And so what I want to talk about in these next 40 minutes or so is how do we convert more of the leads that are coming into our lead gen system. So like I said, this is divided into 3 parts: how to build your traffic, how to engage with your traffic, and how to nurture and close with your traffic. Build traffic, the column on the far left-hand side, this is where the majority of the businesses are stuck in. We're trying to drive traffic and trying to drive leads. Our marketing systems are not advanced enough where we can focus on step 2 and 3 to engage traffic and to nurture and close traffic, okay? If I had to summarize successful paid advertising and lead gen into one word, this would be that one word: touch points, okay? The advertiser who can create the most touch points with your prospect is the advertiser who will win in the future. Okay, we're heading towards a cookie-less world where it's harder for advertising platforms like Google and Facebook to track you because of privacy. So because of these issues at play, it's really important that you learn how to create marketing systems that will create multiple touch points across multiple platforms to convert these leads for you. So that's what I want to talk about today. Just real quickly, I want to talk about Google search. For the sake of this presentation, I'm going to do a lot of Google and Facebook primarily, but a lot of what I'm talking about can be applied to other platforms if maybe you advertise on LinkedIn or YouTube, for example. But I just want to talk high-level strategy for this presentation. A lot of people advertise in Google. A lot of times it doesn't work for them. I found that there's a couple of things that really hurts their conversions with Google advertising? Usually number one, I would say it's the landing page. There's only so many things you can do within the Google dashboard in terms of keyword bidding and bid strategy. I think the biggest needle that can move things is your landing page. Recent research showed that 44% of all B2B business marketers, they use their homepage as a landing page, and your homepage is not a good idea for your landing page. You want to create high converting landing page. This could probably be a webinar unto itself. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but what I can do is direct you guys to an ebook I wrote. It's called Superhero High Converting Landing Pages for Professional Services. Link is down below. I'll provide the link, and Anastasia will provide the link as well after the seminar, so you don't have to remember all of this. But I spent about 25 pages talking about different things you need to optimize for your landing page, from your headline to design flow, message matching, social proof, things like that. So worth downloading if you don't know much about landing pages, especially for professional services. Let's talk about Facebook right now. I know Facebook is a very popular ad platform for both B2B and B2C marketers. Facebook is not as easy as it looks nowadays. 5 years ago, you can get really good conversion rates, but nowadays it's a lot harder. The magic number that I want to toss out to you guys is 1%. 1% represents the average click-through rate, across all industries on Facebook right now. So if you were to run a Facebook ad, the average CTR is 1% right now. This versus 5 years ago, where you can easily see CTRs between 10 to 20%. So things have changed a lot over the last 5 years on Facebook. Why have CTRs plummeted? Well, number one, we're inundated with ads all across many platforms, not just Facebook, but YouTube, LinkedIn, organic, TikTok, Instagram. We see more ads today than we ever did 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So because we see so many more ads, we're a lot more skeptical, and we've become more desensitized to advertising. And this makes it a lot harder to advertise. And so what I want to talk about is your second conversion leak, which is creatives. It's really important today, especially given the changes to, or the impact of iOS 14 on Facebook advertising. It's more important than ever that you focus on good creatives. And one of the biggest reasons why people suffer from really poor conversions and CTRs is they have really bad creatives. And what I want to talk about are some, I hate to use this word, but hacks, if you will, for good creatives that work right now. This worked before iOS 14, but this works after iOS 14 as well. Let's switch over. So anyone here, if you want to type in chat, anyone here trying to promote an ebook or lead magnet? If you are, this is a really good hack that you can use. It's what I call the sneak preview method. So this is coming from a guy, his name is Dan Martell. He's a SaaS consultant. So he works as a coach for a lot of SaaS marketing companies. So a lot of people, they try to promote an ebook or lead magnet on Facebook, and it doesn't always do well. There's a lot of reasons for it, but part of it is that we've become desensitized to ebook downloads. If you've seen one ebook, you've seen them all. And so one of the things that work really well right now, ebook downloads, in terms of creatives, is you want to give them a sneak preview of what's going on inside the lead magnet. Okay, so if you're promoting an ebook, you want to maybe show a few pages of what's going on inside that lead magnet or that ebook, or you want to show a preview of what you're going to teach, as you see here on this right-hand side, of what you're going to teach within the ebook. Okay, so that's what we call a sneak preview method. Too many people, they hire a graphic designer to design this really beautiful outside cover of the ebook, and then the campaign just doesn't do well. And the reason being is that we're skeptical. Okay, we're skeptical of what's inside. We don't want to give our email address to anyone. Our email address is very precious. And so you have to entice people by giving them a sneak preview. So if you're trying to promote an ebook or lead magnet for your company, you might want to look at the sneak preview method. Memes. Some people think memes are unprofessional, especially if you sell a professional service. I would disagree. Memes, the reason why memes work is that people can relate to them. Okay. They work in both B2C and B2B, whether it's e-commerce or lead gen. They work because they're funny and they're relatable. A good meme can get really good engagement because people have seen these memes before. So they're likely to engage with it. Okay, so that's something to think about. This is what I call the picture-in-picture demo method. So if you're promoting a lead magnet, you want to demo a product such as maybe you're in the SaaS space, or you want to show off your expertise, I think the picture-in-picture demo works correctly. It works very well. It's really hard for me to kind of show this because these are actually videos that I took a screenshot of. But if I can kind of explain what's going on, in this left-hand screenshot that you see here, it's a 2-minute video where the advertiser is trying to promote a lead magnet. And they have on the upper right-hand side here, you have this woman in a picture-in-picture mode talking about what's going on within the lead magnet that they're promoting. Or on the right-hand side, this person, they're promoting a free trial offer to try their, I think it's a SaaS platform. And so what you see with this video is that on the left-hand side, you have a woman talking. And on the right-hand side, they're demoing what the product looks like. The reason why this does well is that a lot of data has shown that if you show a real person next to the ad or in the ad itself, it increases conversions because human nature is that we're social creatures. And as social creatures, we want to connect with other human beings. If you take the pandemic right now, a lot of people are really isolated, right? And there's nothing that we yearn more than socializing and interacting with other people. So this picture-in-picture demo method is really great. That's something you may want to consider if you're advertising a product or a lead magnet, is you want to show yourself in a much smaller frame relative to what you're trying to promote. So that's the picture-in-picture demo method. Personal photos actually work well if you're a consultant or a coach, or if you sell professional services. I've always said that as a professional service provider, you are selling yourself. Okay, you're selling yourself, you're selling your team, you're selling your company. So again, this goes back to we're social creatures, make eye contact, humanize the ad by showing yourself. Okay, so it's personal photos, selfies. Last but not least, before and after. Before and after works well with health and wellness, such as weight loss. Weight loss is kind of, you have to be careful with that on Facebook because they can ban you showing before and after photos. Like this is how much you looked before, this is how much weight you lost after. But this can be applied again to other services. This is a ad by Keep, which is a CRM software solution. Again, it's a video, so it's hard for me to kind of show what the video looks like, but I took a simple screenshot. On the left-hand side is they show a business owner who is suffering, who's just too busy. And on the right-hand side, they're showing another video of the same business owner who's able to get his invoices paid, get new leads, set up meetings using Keep software, okay? So something to keep in mind. So again, good Facebook ads focuses on good creatives, all right? To summarize, the weirder the better, personal photos, video, funny memes, humor, shock and awe. We'll talk about offers in a few minutes. We live in a low trust world. I like to quote Seth Godin here. If people aren't buying from you, don't take it personal. It has nothing to do with you. It's just that in 2021, we're inundated with so much advertising that people are skeptical, okay? Like I said, we see ads anywhere and everywhere. There are days where I wished it was the year 2000 again, and the only ads that we saw were TV commercials and radio ads. Today we see ads on the internet, YouTube, TikTok, you name it, robocalls. The greatest thing about the internet is that anyone can become a superstar. But the worst thing about the internet is that anyone can become a superstar. Many of us who have our own business, we can thank the internet for allowing us to run our business, for us to get information off the internet, for us to promote ourselves on social media. But at the same time, there's a lot of businesses who have no business being on the internet. These are people selling disinformation. These are people selling bad products that aren't promising the results that they're promising. And so because of that, we've become more skeptical. For those of you who consume YouTube content, there's a great content creator by the name of Amanda McCants. She does really funny parodies on internet culture. I constantly laugh when I see her videos. But, you know, I think her videos really goes to show where we are with internet culture right now, where everyone is an influencer, everyone is supposedly an expert at what they do. And because of that, it creates a lot of noise. It creates a lot of low trust. So the trick is, how do you overcome low trust? And this is where we lead to stage 2 of lead gen, which is we're going to focus on funnels and retargeting. Before I get to that, do we have any questions, Anastasia? Should I open the Q&A? No questions so far? Okay. So if I don't see any questions, we'll just keep moving on. So stage 2, engaging your traffic. Usually this is where, as marketers, we like to brag about how we've achieved 500% return on ad spend for XYZ client. I want to take a different route. I actually want to show you a Facebook ad campaign which did not perform well for us. And so that way you can learn from it and understand the common mistakes that people make with Facebook advertising. But this doesn't just apply to Facebook, this applies to LinkedIn as well. A lot of people are doing direct response ads on LinkedIn, it just doesn't work well, and YouTube as well. But we'll use this Facebook ad example. So last year, another agency contacted me and they wanted to hire me to do Facebook advertising for a doctor's office. And it was I think it was actually, it was a chiropractor office. It was a chiropractor and a physical therapy office. And they wanted to do direct response. And I objected to it. I said, we should not do it this way. Direct response does not work well on Facebook, at least the way they want to run it. But the way they want to run it is we'd set up ads where it was sent to a direct message on Facebook. And if people were interested in booking an appointment with the chiropractor office, they would do so through direct message or through a phone call. So this was last year. I'll give you some basic statistics. Spent about $1,700 in 1 month. With that $1,700, we got about 128 direct messages. Of those direct messages, we got about 32 leads. So a lead here, we qualify as someone who's interested in booking an appointment. Okay. A QL, qualified lead, is whether or not, you know, we were actually able to book them. So those 32 inquiries, people who expressed interest, we had someone who followed up. We actually only had 7 qualified leads, so meaning 7 qualified booked appointments, someone who actually scheduled an appointment. So how many total clients did we get out of all of this? I think only 2. So basically it costed us $1,700 in 1 month just to get 2 clients, which is $800 cost per acquisition. Now, if you know anything about chiropractor or physical therapy office, that's way too much. You should not be paying that sort of money. I knew this would happen, but they wanted to do it anyway. So lesson learned. So why did this type of advertising go wrong? And this happens all the time, I see on Facebook and LinkedIn. Why did we get such high cost per acquisition? Poor offer. we had no offer whatsoever. We were trying to do direct response, and we shouldn't have done direct response. If you're going to do Facebook, you're going to do what we refer to as top of the funnel advertising. Top of the funnel advertising is basically marketing to people who aren't aware that they have a problem with your business, or they're not aware that they have a problem yet. So it's your job to make them aware that they have a problem and that your service can be the solution to it. Okay. And the reason why most Facebook ads do poorly is they're not engaging in good top of the funnel advertising or middle of the funnel. Okay. So a good creative, I'm sorry, a good offer should look like some of these. Ebooks, like we talked about. You want to offer perhaps a discount or an offer. If you're a SaaS company, maybe a trial offer, 14 or 30-day trial offer if you're a SaaS company. Certain local services companies, such as dental practices, home contracting, maybe a free consult or teeth cleaning. Actually, this is a really good example. Dentists don't make much money off of teeth cleaning, right? They actually don't make any money through teeth cleaning. But the reason why they offer it is they want to upsell to you. Perhaps through the initial appointment for teeth cleaning, they can upsell implants or Invisalign, right? Which can cost several $1,000s or more. So these are usually the type of offers that work very well on Facebook. That's not to say you can't do direct response. I think you can still do direct response, but I think it's just a lot harder to do it on Facebook. So it's something to think about. Your initial offer, it's about 20% of the overall funnel. Okay. It's only 20% of the work, your initial offer. You still have to do the other 80% of the work, which looks a little bit like this. And that's the fourth conversion lead, which is a lot of people don't have good funnels. Like I said, consumers today, they have more choices than they did 9 years ago. So because they have more choices, there are more options, they're always looking around. Sometimes they forget about you. When they see your initial ad, they just forget about it. Family takes over, responsibility takes over. So it's really important that you have a good funnel. A good funnel looks at retargeting, establishes multiple touch points, establishes a sequence, or what we call sequential targeting. I think that's more important than ever in the iOS 14 world where privacy matters, and it's harder for us to track it's harder for us to track what the visitor is doing off page, especially if you're using Apple devices. So sequential targeting, a good example of sequential targeting is maybe you run a video ad that's 1 minute long on Facebook, and then you target people who saw at least 50% of that ad. In this case, they've watched the first 30 seconds of it. Okay, because they watched the first 30 seconds of it, you're thinking maybe they do have some interest, but you need to show another series of ads to that prospect. So sequential targeting, you're going to show another ad to them based on people who saw 50% of that video ad. And then after that, you may show another ad until they finally convert. So that's sequential targeting. Okay, but the gist of all of this is that you need to create multiple touch points. Okay, because people don't always convert on the initial offer. Common objections. You're too expensive. Why should I hire you when I can hire the guy next door for cheaper? You've probably heard some of that, right? Don't have enough information from the initial ad. They're comparison shopping. They're not convinced. So these are all common objections that people have. And usually your first initial ad won't be able to address all of these issues. And that's why you have to show multiple ads to them. And a lot of this is just testing. We're constantly testing, trying new things, trying to see which ads does best based on the user persona. Okay, so the best ways to handle these objections I found is to use video testimonials. That's really underrated. A lot of people just don't use video testimonials in their ads. So if you have a customer who's just a really big fan of what you do, highly recommend you do a video testimonial with them and turn that into an ad. Case studies, videos answering frequently asked questions. These are all different ways to address these objections. I want to talk about retargeting, for example, with a past client of mine. So I showed you one of my failures. I'll now show you one of the successes. This client is in the travel and tourism business. They do brewery tours in Texas. So the way it works is that when someone is in Austin, Texas, they might be interested in a brewery tour, which will allow them to visit multiple craft breweries in half a day. So the client hired me to do Google ads for them. We were converting roughly about 5 to 8% of all traffic on Google ads. After several months, I recommended retargeting, because what ends up happening with this particular type of business is that when someone does a search for a brewery tour, they're generally trying to do it within a group. Usually when someone does a brewery tour, they want to invite their friends along. Sometimes they do birthday parties or bachelor parties or corporate events. So it's going to be a big group setting. So in a group setting, there's a lot of logistics involved. So the initial ad, the Google ads, only convert 5 to 8%. So if we don't do anything else, we're leaving a lot of money on the table, because that user then has to go back and talk to their friends or their corporate partners and figure out dates, logistics, how many people want to show up for the events, and so on and so forth, and budget as well. So all of these things requires us to go beyond the initial Google ads. So that's why I recommended Facebook advertising or Facebook retargeting. That way we can keep showing our ads on a consistent basis. Okay, so in this case, we'll convert 5 to 8% off of Google ads. We'll then show retargeting ads on Facebook. What was the conversion rate on that? I think we did this for about 3 weeks before the pandemic hit. I had such horrible timing. We did it so well, but then the pandemic hit, so they had to shut down. But we only spent like $300 off of retargeting, and their revenue purchase was about $2,200. So 7x return on ad spend, pretty good. In fact, I'm pretty confident the return on ad spend is a lot higher than that. The problem is that a lot of people will book through the phone, and obviously Facebook can't track phone conversions. It was only tracking electronic bookings for us. So I'm pretty confident that our return on ad spend was a lot higher than that. So even though many of you probably don't run a brewery tour, the reason why I showed you this example is that retargeting is really important. It all goes back to touch points, right? It's not enough just to run Google ads. I think there's nothing wrong with Google ads. I think Google ads converts really well, even in 2021, even though cost per click is a lot higher than it was in 2012. They still convert really well if you have a good landing page, you have a good funnel. But I think you're leaving a lot of money on the table if you don't look at retargeting. Retargeting on Facebook, if you're B2C, maybe some B2B. Retargeting on LinkedIn. LinkedIn cost per click can be really expensive if you're doing cold targeting. But if you're in a B2B business where you have good margins, you may want to look at LinkedIn retargeting. Okay, so those are my two platforms for retargeting, either LinkedIn or Facebook. Okay. Like I said, touch points. I like to use the example of marriage and dating. If you go out on a date with another person, do you propose marriage on the first date? No, of course not. No one proposes marriage on the first date, right, Sonny? Rich, I know Sonny very well. I mean, Rich isn't going to propose marriage on the first date. Why? Because the other person, you know, she doesn't know you very well. She doesn't trust you. She has no context. She needs multiple touch points. In this case, thousands of touch points before she would consider, or he would consider saying yes to you, right? So if you look at from that perspective, what sort of touch points do you need from a marriage from a courtship perspective? Well, touch points counts as, you know, extra dates, obviously. It could be text messaging. It could be a phone call, right? So all of these touch points helps to establish trust in the eyes of the prospect. And a lot of people as advertisers, for some reason, I don't know why it is, but for some reason, when we do advertising, we think we're always going to convert on the first touch point. And this really isn't the case, especially in selling a service which could cost thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars or six figures. Usually the more money it costs, the more touch points you need with the prospect to convert. And I think that's really one of the biggest fatal mistakes I see in advertising today is that we're all trying to convert on the first touch point. And it's just not going to happen, especially in 2021. Consumers have more choices than they ever did. And you need multiple touch points, and you need to be omni-channel. You can't just invest onto one platform anymore. You need multiple platforms. Okay. Any questions so far before I move on to the third and final aspect of this presentation, which is sales automation? If I don't have any questions, I'm going to keep moving on. So let's talk about sales automation. This is where a lot of professional services companies, they struggle a lot. And this goes back to the presentation or the slide all the way in the beginning where I talked about who's at fault, where the client says, you know, the leads are trash. The agency says you don't know how to close. The truth is that it's somewhere in the middle. I've worked with a lot of businesses who struggle with converting prospects into leads, right? Traditionally, my job as a marketer is to simply just generate leads for the business. And it's really up to the business to convert those leads. But a lot of small businesses today, for any number of reasons, you're so busy wearing so many different hats that you don't always have time to focus on follow-up with the prospect, right? So for example, maybe your front desk, they're too busy with operations and other aspects of the business to focus on sales. Maybe you're an individual coach or consultant and you're great at what you do, but you just suck at sales. So how do you fix this problem where if you don't close the lead, your cost per lead just goes up higher and higher? How do you fix that? Well, I think it's sales automation. I think this is where we're heading in the future. There's really two big issues in sales with respect to lead generation. Number one is getting the person to show up for the appointment. Okay, and then once they show up for the appointment or the consult, it's closing the deal after the appointment. Those are your two biggest issues in sales right now. And a lot of, having worked with agencies as well, a lot of agencies still haven't figured this part out. We're still focused on marketing. Yes, Anna Maria, I will make the slides available after the session. A lot of marketing agencies and professional marketers, we're still focused on just trying to bring leads to you. We're not trying to focus on converting the leads because we believe it's your job. I used to believe that as well. I've since wisened up to it and realized that, you know what, if my small business client, if they're not able to convert the leads, they're not going to keep me on board for very long. So it's part of my responsibility now to work on tools and automations that will help you convert these leads. Okay, this is very common amongst many different professional services, home contracting, healthcare, SaaS software, whatever type of service you're selling, chances are you may have a lead conversion problem in terms of getting people to convert either to the initial appointment or after the appointment. What I want to do as we close out, I want to give you guys an example of a funnel I reverse engineered. This is not my funnel, but I want to show you how extensive automation looks like if it's done correctly. Okay, so this is a Facebook ad that I saw for a dental care office. Even though it's a dental office and you guys aren't dentists, it's okay. Don't worry about that. Just understand the big picture strategy that I'm going to paint here and why you need a sales automation funnel today. So what happens is that this dental office, they're advertising dental implants. So if you don't know anything about dental implants, they're really big money. One single implant can cost $5,000 or more. So it's really big money for a lot of dental offices. So that's sort of the holy grail for dental marketing is implants. So they'll show an ad, as you see here. I clicked on the ad and it brought me to this landing page. They call it a quiz. It's really funny that people call it a quiz. It's really not a quiz. The reason why we call it a quiz is that a quiz makes it sound more fun. For those of you who've been in digital marketing for a while, this goes back to the days of BuzzFeed.com. For those of you who don't know BuzzFeed, BuzzFeed made quizzes really popular back in the day. This was maybe back about 8 years ago, where they used to run quizzes that went viral. For example, a quiz would be, which superhero powers do you have in the workplace? And so what would happen is that you would fill out a quiz, like answering these questions, and based on how you answer them, they would tell you which superhero you are, and you would share this. This was way back when Facebook had really good organic reach. And so whenever you share it, things could just get better reach. So things would go viral way back then. But today we call it a quiz, but it's really a pre-qualification form. We don't call it pre-qualification form because if we call it that, people fall asleep and they won't fill out the application. So we call it a quiz. Okay, so I fill out their quiz, about 15 questions. Once I fill out the quiz, hit the submit button. What then happens next is I will get a welcome email, as you see here. I'll get a welcome email or a text message telling me, hey, I need to fill out an appointment. Okay, so it's asking me to book an appointment through their calendar page. If I do not book an appointment, as we move along this funnel, I would then get 7 emails in about 4 days reminding me to book an appointment. Okay. Some of you guys may be thinking this could be too much. No, it's not. This is what you need to do to convert leads nowadays, because like I said, people have more choices. They're busy. They live busy lives. So you have to remind people, you have to touch people over email, over SMS, over silent voicemail drops, that, hey, we're here for you. We would like to do business with you. Okay. So big picture is, if we go back, saw the ad, landed on your page, fill out the landing page form, got emails and SMS to ask for or to book an appointment. If I don't book the appointment, I'll get reminders over email and text messages. This is what sales automation looks like moving forward. If you have a problem converting leads today, and a lot of businesses do, you want to look at sales automation. Like I said, you have to get people to show up. Oh, by the way, this funnel I just showed you, this is just to get me to show up for the appointments. You haven't seen their funnel for what it looks like after I attended their first appointment. Because, for example, I may attend a virtual consult, but I may want to think about it. We hear that all the time. Let me think about it. They're probably going to have another funnel for that as well. Okay. So something for you to think about. Okay. Sales automation. I showed you guys what it looks like for a dental office, but it can be applied for any type of business. All right. So available solutions, CRM, email drips, By the way, is anyone doing sales automation right now, or who's not doing sales automation? You can type in chat. Just want to get an idea of who's using sales automation. Voicemail drops. These are the sort of solutions that you want to do. People ask me, you know, which is best for me. It just really depends on your business model. It's going to be different for everyone. Generally speaking, I like to use a combination of email, SMS, and voicemail drops because everyone's different nowadays. Applicable to SaaS, consulting, professional services, e-commerce as well, actually. E-commerce is a little bit different. You want to do more what we refer to as shopping cart abandonment in e-commerce. So real quick chart here, revenue, ease of implementation. This differs for everyone, but you may start out with Google ads, you may do co-targeting, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, YouTube ads, move up the scale with automation. But as you implement more advertising platforms and more touch points, your revenue goes up too. Okay, so that's something for you to think about. Again, another way of looking at this, scale your advertising, scale your business, build traffic, engage with your traffic, nurture and convert your traffic. As you move along this timeline, as you do more things, your revenue increases. If you stick to just building traffic, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. Okay, so you want to engage with your traffic through remarketing, through a funnel. As you convert more leads into customers, pour more money into sales automation as well, through SMS, voicemail, and so on and so forth. That's how you scale your advertising in order to scale your business. So I want to just wrap up here and take some questions. Like I said, I don't think you have a lead generation problem. I think generating leads is relatively easy. Converting leads is a lot harder because of where we are in 2021. People are more skeptical. People are busy. Prospects have more choices. So because of all of these issues, I believe you don't really have a lead generation problem. You can have agencies or marketers or do it yourself to generate leads. Generating leads is not a problem. Converting the leads is a lot harder. So that's kind of where we are right now. And if you understand where your conversion leaks are, I think it's a lot easier to fix it and to scale your business and scale your advertising. So with that said, I am wanting to take questions. Do we have any questions? Just open up the Q&A. Sunny asks, do I have tips to get people engaged on Facebook pages? So organic reach on Facebook, Sunny, I hate to say it, but it's 98% dead. Facebook just doesn't reward you with organic reach. I think there are exceptions to this rule. But you would have to play the numbers game where you need likes and followers in the 5 or 6 figures to get good organic reach. I think you really, if you want to do organic reach, I would say look at LinkedIn. LinkedIn gets crazy good organic reach right now. For that, Roderick, am I going to get 7 emails? So if you, I like that smiley face. So actually, to be transparent with you, if you download that lead magnets where on landing pages, if you download that, you actually get 3 emails where it's not actually a reminder, it's actually a summarization of what I talked about conversion killers. So I personally don't like to pester people with constant reminders. I like to educate and teach people. I think over time, the long game plays well and really makes good money. Nothing wrong with sending multiple emails and I guess pestering people, if you will. This is not my thing. But you will get emails, but they tend to be more educational. Smiley face. Any other questions? If I'm starting a new, what kind of business are you in, Anna Maria? So if you don't, yeah, that's, so I've seen people do well with paid ads on art dealing, but art is a very subjective, well, actually, you sell art or you're an art dealer. I guess there's a difference between the two, but I would stick with organic reach. So Instagram does well for art because it's a very visual platform. You could do Facebook, but you would really have to have really good creatives if you're gonna try and do art. I guess it really depends on what you're trying to do. Like, are you trying to get people to an event, like an art event, or something else? So it really depends. Any other questions? Organic reach, for those of you who don't know, organic and paid. So paid ads is basically, obviously, you're going to pay the platform such as Facebook or Google to advertise. Organic reach is basically relying on the platform to do the marketing for you through, well, their platform. Like Instagram has good organic reach where you post the content, and because of the algorithm, you know, they spread the content itself. TikTok has good reach. LinkedIn has good organic reach. Facebook, not so much. Pinterest for art dealer is really interesting one. I won't say yes, I won't say no. I think you may want to try Pinterest. If I still had to pick one, I would take Instagram over Pinterest though. Which platforms would I recommend for gin and whiskey tasting business? Focus. Oh, so I have a good one. This depends on how much your ticket price is. How much are your tickets? 60. Okay, so they're not too bad because my client who's selling brewery tours, his average ticket price was $80, but usually the average purchase price is about $250 because usually someone brings another friend with them. I think you could do well on Facebook and Instagram for that. I would not focus on LinkedIn. I don't know. I think Oldenburg is in Germany. Is that correct? If so, you may want to try Google search ads. I don't know if people are doing a search for gin and whiskey tasting. If they are, Google search ads first, see how well you do with it, and then pivot over to Facebook. But I think Facebook and Instagram could do well for gin and whiskey tasting businesses.